actually our next game as well, Zyrene.
Yes.
So lots of action coming up here today.
The group's not decided until the very end right here, because it could be the Chaos Latin Gamers versus Young Generation rematch, with both them being at 1 win and 3 losses, right? And then having a tiebreaker. There may be multiple tiebreakers that happen here. The Hong Kong Attitude, Fenerbahce one, that's one that could end up having another game as well.
And more League of Legends is better.
Yes.
I think we can all agree on that. I've managed to switch my sleep schedule around, so I'm ready to go the whole hog, the full distance.
You just hit me with the schedule. I love it. I love it.
Well, you hit me with the Fenerbahce.
Yeah, yeah.
Proper pronunciation. It was very well done. Let's focus back in on this game, though, Zyrene. KLG do not have that much damage in their top or in their mid lane. They're looking towards bot. So what does Tearwolf do to facilitate that for them?
So he's going to have to track where Broxa is as this early aggressive jungler on the Rek side, but not get too close. Because this bottom lane from Fnatic, I feel like what you can do as KLG is you can either be very aggressive with this Lulu that has Ignite and try to push up and be, just a very offensive force here. But I don't feel like you're going to get much from Fnatic. The Janna lane is something that, as a jungler, you never really want to go towards. Then it's a barrier plus heal in that bottom lane, and it's a relic shield and a coin. So they're just trying to get to Ardent Sensor for Jez's. This lane is dedicated to scaling, but that means they may give something up. And that's what I'm tracking here. This is Rekkles. We talked about his CS per minute. He's already off to the races with his CS, basically leaving nothing up to chance or in the opponent's hands, just dictating it immediately, even though the lane is supposed to be a bit more passive.
Did start off in the lane, which gives KLG the knowledge that Broxa probably isn't starting on his blue side jungle, probably up towards that top side. So Tearwolf can play around with that little bit of intelligence he has. KLG are able to force Rekkles and Jez's back a little bit, push them off this wave. And on the rest of the map, we're seeing a slight advantage for Mantarraya in that top lane over Soaz. I'm only going to do that once, I promise.
Really?
Not going to do it every single time.
Okay. Well, see him up about 8 CS in the top lane. I almost did it. I thought about it. No Mantarraya from me.
You can bring it out when he makes the game-changing play.
I gotta feel it.
Yeah, I didn't get to cast KLG yesterday, so I had it stored up. I had all of those extra Rs just sitting in my back pocket. I had to bring a few of them out early on. We'll eke them out. We'll drip feed the Rs into this game as we go.
Yes, Doctor.
Thank you, Nurse Zyrene. KLG looking up towards the top side. Tearwolf is around here, but it's so hard to gank a Maokai early on. In fact, all of Fnatic's lanes are very difficult to get a purchase on if you are this Chaos Latin Gamers jungler.
Yeah, if you're just playing safe, you can see all of Fnatic's lanes are actually playing underneath their turret, but they're not taking much in terms of turret damage, and at the same time, Tearwolf, he's not able to get much when these guys are underneath turrets. You don't really have too many fantastic divers with the Gragas. Is he going to pair up with the Galio or the Shen to make that happen? Not really. And it's very difficult to get dives on these members, like you said. The Maokai, very difficult. Caps has Cleanse. So you'd have to be taking a very large risk if you're KLG's jungler of Tearwolf to actually make something happen.
Probably be okay with the early game going relatively even. It looks like Broxa is actually coming down towards the bot lane, so we might see Fnatic being the first team to enact a gank. Slow and Fix have pushed up here, and Rekkles is on the aggressive warpath. Broxa looking for the knock-up onto Slow. There it comes for TP in behind them straight away. It's a bait, mate, says Zyrene, and now Rekkles gets ignited. Looking for the blade caller back, a good double taunt. Rekkles with the heal, jumps away, and will escape for the time being, but Plugo is not quite done. Fnatic able to get away, but baited in well by the Chaos Latin Gamers.
Yeah, the reason I think that's a bait is they saw Broxa kill the ward on their Pixel Brush using the Scryer's Bloom and saw him move down. So Broxa is 100% moving towards bottom. Plugo put himself in a position to get them from behind with his teleport, and he was looking for just a little bit more once they committed, but he wasn't able to get much.
Did burn his flash. Caps now has flash advantage in that mid lane. Broxa is coming down towards bot lane once again and has a flash of his own, but it looks like he's just going to help push out against this KLG bot lane. I wonder how much gold Jez's is sitting on. Probably has enough to go back and get a portion of that Ardent Sensor.
Yeah, at this point, especially with the Relic Shield, you would think so. You can see he's up 300 gold. A lot of that is from the fact that he has the coin. Both of them are about 190. But then the gold that has been given over by the Spoils of War, actually I believe 180 gold, as it's Targon's Brace that's been upgraded here. So Targon's Brace, I do want to take a second to talk about this. It's about a 500 gold sink, about 800 overall when you're buying the whole thing. A little bit more than that, but when you buy this item, It's not exactly cost-effective right away, but it has gold per 10 on it. Hold on.
Plugo's going to put a lot of damage down to Boxer. The smite comes out for the health. Here's Caps from the side, but he hasn't got 6, just the command protect. Now Caps forces Plugo away. Tearwolf helping out with some trades here as well. Caps is going very aggressive as he pushes in towards Tearwolf. But not going to be able to get too much more out of that.
Yeah, they decided not to go ham there, especially since Plugo used his flash earlier on. But looks like Tearwolf is just going to go for the trade. Plugo.
Tearwolf looking for the trade as well. Stand United comes in. It's a bait once again as Mantarraya joins the fray. Flash torn in. Cap still not 6. Boxer no flash of his own. Mantarraya and Plugo are looking for the chase but cannot quite get on towards that Rek'Sai.
So I was trying to see what was going on there. Mantarraya was 5 in the top lane, barely hit 6 there, and then he goes in. So that's what they were waiting for, and that's why Tearwolf felt confident to stick around in that bush.
Our representatives from Latin America South doing a great job in this early game, continually pulling Fnatic in, making the plays that they want to make and making Fnatic think that they have the upper hand before turning the tables and taking some of these summoners.
And you can see that Fnatic are respecting their opponents right now, but at the same time, they can't end up giving these gigantic CS advantages over to them. We have 10 down in the bottom. There's 10 up in the top lane just about. And now we're looking at Tearwolf being able to bully Brox a bit with a level advantage. So if you give them a lot with this composition, that's exactly what they need. They need Fix to have an advantage. They need to get their tanks to a point where they can dive, because this composition, when it hits mid-game, you need to keep diving. That's how you push the pace with this low damage comp, is when you hit those tanky spikes, just get under the turret, keep going, hit their low mobility carries like the Orianna most likely than not, and try to just blow people up and use that kind of flex muscles with the items you have.
And it's interesting because we do see an advantage for KLG in terms of CS, but Fnatic actually have the gold lead here, about 500 ahead. A lot of that is going to come from the bottom lane as well. It's like Jez is about 400 gold ahead of his counterpart at the moment, or 300 or so. And that's just such an advantage you can get out of these passive lanes with the Targons, with the Nomad's Medallion as well. You gain a lot of gold without the other team sometimes realizing it.
Yeah, so it's actually been about 300 gold that's been generated from the Targon's Brace, so just a kill pretty much gone over to Jez's from having this Relic Shield purchased by Rekkles. And I want to talk about the Targons a little bit, because even though it is something that you sink gold into as the AD carry, and a lot of people would be like, well, you're not getting BF sword items, you're not pushing towards those. This is actually fantastic because it gives you gold per 10, and then the stats on it actually are not bad at all. It's got 175 health. And remember, when you complete this quest, you get a shield that's based on your level that refreshes. When you hit level 9, that shield plus the HP on the item is worth 1,200 gold, and you spent 800 on it. The item essentially becomes 150% cost effective with that shield. And remember, AD carries like Tristana, you do want to have some type of survivability. With the shield is definitely something that you would really want early on, instead of having like a BF sword in your inventory when you hit the mid game.
The last time these two teams met, the game ended in the mid-game, about 24 minutes or so. KLG will be hoping that's how it goes this time, because they have the mid-game power spike with this Xayah over the Tristana and Orianna that take a little bit more time to scale up. But our European representatives from Fnatic are looking okay at the moment. They'll be pretty happy with how this game's gone. Oh, from Mantarraya onto Soaz. There is the twisted advance. Soaz has the flash into the Nature's Grasp, and Mantarraya turns away. There's the root amongst the minions. Soaz not quite able to take a full trade on the tree.
Remember, Mantarraya used his flash for the taunt flash to try and get Broxa earlier, so he doesn't have it there. Nice W there from Plugo to actually absorb some damage and not die.
Damage reduction from the shield of Durand is very good.
We're just rolling all our R's now?
Yeah. Okay, see, here's the thing. I have something called a roticism, so I struggle to pronounce R's in the best of time, and rolling them helps with that, which is why I love the name Mantarraya in that top lane. And he's doing a pretty good job thus far. Now picked up his Tiamat, looking perhaps towards the Titanic Hydra, as he's got a Ruby Crystal and a longsword for himself as well. Soaz has answered that. He said, I'm going to get Barmy Cinder, and I'm going to get a Bramble Vest.
Yeah, when you're up against this composition that has Fix as the primary source of damage, I feel like what you do here is you go for mostly armor, and you can maybe buy, I would say, an adaptive helm, because you're going to most of Galio's damage is the ticks over time from his Q, and then also the Shen pass through of Q hitting multiple times. So in terms of magic damage, it would be that. Maybe you get a single one, just kind of rely on Gargoyle Stoneplate or Spirit Visage, but I would say adaptive helm may be the best one in this situation if you feel like you're going to take much damage from those other guys.
I want to take a step back for a moment here, Zyrene, as well. It's a relatively slowish early game. We're 10 minutes in, not too much has happened. We've seen summoner spells traded, but I really want to look at Chaos Latin gamers and their position in the tournament. Currently sitting at 1 and 2, beating Young Generation yesterday and then losing them to them today. And we're starting to see these aggressive plays that KLG are known for as Tearwolf flashes in onto Soaz. Twisted Advance trying to keep himself alive. There's the Bramble Smash as well, knocking them back. Mantarraya and Tearwolf will not go for the engage.
Wow, so they end up getting out of there, and that was actually Tearwolf's flash to try and get him. And Soaz did a fantastic job there because he used the Twisted Advance as the ultimate, the explosive cast from Tearwolf was coming out, and so he actually avoids it with the untargetability there, so he doesn't fly completely back.
That's actually really strong stuff. I didn't see that originally. That's Soaz showing that he's mastered a champion that he doesn't enjoy playing too much. He's been known to call Maokai a dog champion before because he really doesn't enjoy it, but still doing what he needs to do for this team, doing what he needs to do for Fnatic to win. And Broxah is looking up towards this top side, trying to get the first kill on the board. Nature's Grass comes out, and they're looking for the dive onto Mantarraya. Plugo's on his way up as well, and I think that will dissuade Fnatic from going any further.
Yeah, the ultimate would actually throw a big wrench in plans there. Now Plugo walking past, throwing down Q on the wave.
Oh.
The crowd said it for me.
Yeah, I don't think we need to say anything more about that. Caps.
TP onto 2. Brox is just showing himself top. I think he was trying to get him to cancel the TP maybe, but Mantarraya just comes back.
You don't really have the damage to deal with a Shen. If he chucks down Spirit's Refuge underneath that tower, he'll be okay. And meanwhile, Chaos Latin Gamers playing on the other side of the map. They forced Rekkles and Jez's back.
And the reason that they're able to do this is because Brox has just been topside. They saw him there with the gank, then Mantarraya back, then he TP'd and they showed himself again. 100% you have control of the bottom side.
First tower blood for KLG. They'll be very happy with that. Broxah is starting up the Rift Herald and still Fnatic in a very slight gold advantage. Mantarraya is here to try and deal with this. Here comes Plugo as well. It's a 2v2. Cap's not on his way yet, and of course no Shockwave because he already used that in the lane. Soaz with the Twisted Advance trying to dodge the Shield of Duran, but there comes the taunt, and now Soaz is having to run up towards the top side. Here's the hero's entrance. Soaz so low, gets taken out. First blood. KLG is Mantarraya and Plugo combined.
And it hasn't leashed.
Oh, cast a curse. Cast a curse.
They just need to go more to the right. Just go more to the right. Oh.
We've seen Rift Herald plays work out today. We've seen Rift Heralds abandoned, left alone in the river, all by their lonesome. But KLG will be very happy that they went across to try and deal with that. Tearwolf now being aggressive.
He's got Lulu coming up too.
Lulu's on her way. There's the Wild Growth Box and knocked up. Flashes, smites as well, and just survives, gets himself out. Does not get the red buff, but I'm sure he'll be happy with keeping his life.
That actually looked like Tearwolf didn't have enough mana to use the ultimate, and then as soon as he went over, yeah, it was, okay, he barely got enough there. But right here, watch Caps. Caps actually is just hanging out mid, and he doesn't roam up. He decides to get priority, and it looks like Fnatic didn't want to completely commit to this, and Caps could have been on the backside of this fight, but they decide to abandon it. And it's just really interesting they did that. It's probably because he didn't have Shockwave, but you would have had a numbers advantage as Fnatic.
Perhaps a bit of inexperience there, a bit of misplacing in your priorities with Caps not having had the best tournament thus far. He's just saying, well, I need to get ahead in lane, I need to be able to get the pressure in, and KLG is showing that if you work as a team, you can get these advantages. First blood, first tower, and forcing Fnatic back.
And right now, they've swapped the lanes. You can see that KLG want to get another turret and just use this combination that's been winning for them, and it's up in CS right now. I said it was a gamble to kind of put Fix on the Xayah up against Rekkles, who always seems to CS well come the mid game. But right now, he's up, and he's been doing a fantastic job. It's really Caps who has this gigantic advantage over his lane with 40 CS up. And now Soaz is kind of holding in this top side. He has the Bramble Vest. He actually is in a really good spot. Oh!
Vix having to use the Feather Storm to get himself out. Now he will be able to root out Soaz, and Soaz needs to be a bit cautious because you do have a lot of damage coming out from that Xayah. Essence Reaver has been completed, and that's a big spike of damage for the bird person in the bottom lane.
But see on the opposite side here, the Ardent Sensor has already been completed for Jez's. And so he's about 600 or 400 gold up right now. And so he's able to complete that early, and that gives Rekkles even more pushing power, allows him to push down this turret, and they're just going to trade top turret for this bottom turret, whereas Brox is now on the Dragon.
And he is looking to secure the Cloud Drake for himself. It's another tower for KLG. They are one ahead, baby. Well, not for a very short period of time. They're one ahead for the while. And Fnatic, once again on the back foot. We saw a very similar game from them against Young Generation yesterday, where it was incredibly even for the majority of the matchup. Manta Raya almost catching out Jez's, who was just about able to escape in that bottom lane.
All right, so now we're at the point where we have 1 turret down for Fnatic, 2 for Chaos Latin Gamers, and they're doing a good job of shoving these down. Mid lane is where they need to go next, and they have a good composition for 1-3-1. They have 2 teleports, they have 4 globals total. So right now, you want them to split the map. So KLG want to just 1-3-1, use their mid lane, which would be their bottom lane now, their AD carry, and put them mid, siege down turrets, get objectives, because they just gave up the Cloud Drake. Get this, use this Rift Herald to try and push down that mid and get that next turret for themselves.
And you open up the map so much more when you get that mid tower, and allowing you to play around the Shen, play around the Galio, play around these globals. They're also trying to play around Boxer getting knocked back. Here comes the TP by Soaz, but that's going to be a little bit too late here. Now, Fnatic decide to cancel the teleport and lose the Rift Herald, so it's a pure gain for Chaos Latin Gamers.
Yeah, they get the kill, they get the Rift Herald. Now they'll have to go back to managing waves, so Tearwolf will back with the empowered recall. Get back on the map faster. I love that about Rift Herald. If you just had a scuffle and you're out of mana, you get out much quicker in your base, and you're back on the field.
Sometimes it makes me not want to use the Rift Herald though, because I could have a 4-second back timer. Could just get back even quicker. Plugo having a great lane in this mid lane, and once again, although Camps is ahead in farm here, we are seeing him struggle to have an impact on the map. Plugo now has that Spectre's Cowl, Abyssal Mask.
Yeah. It's something that I've been seeing a lot when Galio was just played in the mid, both in solo queue and in professional play, is that this champion is just so hard to get stuff from. So even though you have a 50 CS advantage plus for Caps right now, he's about that 60 mark, it's very hard to get things from this Galio because of his teleport, because of his ultimate, and the damage reduction. So it allows players who may not be, just objectively as good as their counterparts, a way to kind of be alive in that lane and provide for the team. So right now, though, top lane, we're seeing double globals on the opposite side, Soaz no teleport, so Manta Raya could join this. They're just going to try to siege down this turret here. Tearwolf on the backside.
Jez uses such an early Monsoon. They give up the tower for this, and that seems to be what Fnatic have been doing a lot over the last couple of minutes. Giving up Rift Herald, giving up TP advantage, giving up towers. KLG now go ahead in terms of gold, 500 gold ahead for the first time in this game, and they are looking very strong here, Zyrene.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do for Fnatic and for most teams, is to give things up. Watch as Jez checks it. He saw it.
Still has to use the flash, though.
Yes.
And that's another summoner giving up, trying to get vision, didn't even get a ward in the bush. Just saw that Tearwolf was waiting around the bend. This tournament almost echoes the history of Chaos Latin Gamers as well, because they started off pretty well and then they struggled, and now they're looking to come back. And last split, they actually finished quite low. They were
in the promotion tournament.
Yeah, they won 3-1 in the promotion tournament, I believe, and now they've come back and they are champions of Latin America South and are challenging, teams like Fnatic, who I'm sure 6 months ago they never thought they'd have a chance of facing.
Yeah, the CLS champions are honestly bringing it a little bit in this tournament, but especially this game here, because that was something that takes a lot of kind of bravery to do it. Try to match Fix up against Rekkles, who is a name that's known across the League of Legends scene, especially in the last few years, even when he came up as a prodigy. So Fix is somebody, he's trying to put his mark on League of Legends, put his mark on this game, especially up against Rekkles, who right now you're seeing him pick up whatever farm they can funnel him.
It's typical Rekkles, but it's typical Fix as well, because he's put a mark on this team. It was actually Manta Raya, Fix, and Slow who were brought in coming into this split that have really helped transform Chaos Latin Gamers. And coming up to the 20-minute mark, they have a small gold lead over Fnatic, and now they're looking for that mid tower that we talked about, Zyrene.
Yeah, the fact that they used the Rift Herald on the top side means it's kind of harder to get this one in the mid, of course. But the wave clear is something you always have to watch out for. And I'm looking for the 1-3-1 split. They're just going to let Fix walk up and just get Ardent Sensor on him from the Lulu. Just auto attack away.
Well, down to half already. Good chunk of damage there. We are starting to see Caps continue to extend that that CS lead in the mid lane, 80 ahead of his lane opponent. But this is the thing with tanks as well. After you start getting a couple of items, the more items you get don't give you as much of a bonus as perhaps they would do on an AP mage.
Yeah, and just to put it in perspective as well, he's about 75 CS up right now. He's actually only up about 600 gold because of the 2 kills that went over to Plugo. So he has those 2 kills, he has 2 more turrets worth of gold, and it's just a small difference here instead of a massive one.
And because of the objectives as well, Slow and has been able to make up some of that gold difference in the bottom lane. That Targon's Brace not doing as much now as it had done before.
Targon's Brace has earned 977 gold on the side of Rekkles, so giving over a ton of gold to his support. But like you said, it was kind of made up.
An extra 1,000 gold going over to the support, and now Jez and Rekkles will be able to secure a tower for themselves in the top lane. Game slowed down a little bit here, more just chip damage happening across the lanes, and with Mountain Drake being up in 20 seconds and Baron live, that's where I expect to see these next team fights occurring.
And the mid lane is something big right now where both teams are kind of converging around it, and like you said, the Mountain Drake is important. Of course, getting mid priority is the name of the game right before that spawn.
I'm sure one of our people on the analyst desk would talk about that for quite a while. Mark Z, very well known for his mid-priority debates and discussions.
Yes, I don't know how much of a debate it is. I feel like it's a concept in League of Legends that you really just have to understand mid-priority. Right now, I feel like KLG have it, and they're just going to be able to get this.
It opens up the map for them now. They're able to come down this river, secure themselves a Mountain Drake, 22 minutes in or so. It's a big Drake to have as you're pushing towers.
So what Fnatic literally just did is we look at things and we go, oh, that's a free dragon. Nothing in League of Legends is free. What they've traded is, Fnatic have traded a Mountain Drake over for farm on Rekkles. He pushed out the top wave, he got to sit there. Normally you would be like 80 carry, come down to the dragon, and then you have to have the 80 carry and mid laner split farm as you have like the Maokai top to get that. And they're just saying there's more important things in this game, and it's getting Rekkles farm to hit that mid late game. So you're seeing it in action where Rekkles split pushing is a very active choice for them to funnel it because they value that very highly.
And both he and Caps are averaging well over 10 CS a minute. So they are getting that farm, they are getting that gold on towards them. Caps has finished the Andries Torment. T-Wolves gets jumped on here by Rekkles, looking
Another
for
reset.
recharge, but here comes the Galio, and perhaps Rekkles has been baited in, knocked back. Mantoraya there as well. The taunt drops up Fnatic at 5 members, and now Rekkles is still alive. Already we're going to see the KLG members falling lower and lower. The shockwave double flash. Here comes the Featherstorm from Fix, but already Soaz has been able to kill T-Wolves. Slow dead as well. KLG had no damage, and Fnatic had the members to back up Rekkles.
Like we said, super low damage composition. Plugo, Monteraya, Tierwolf, they have the tanks there. Slow gets there. Fix is the last one to show up to the party, and he's the most important person. He was the birthday boy.
He was the birthday boy, but he wasn't able to make the plays that he needed to do, and KLG gave a few presents over to Fnatic, but at the moment they're trying to be the party upsetters. There's the Baron falling, Fix dead as well, and now KLG have to run for the hills. Plugo caught out the explosive charge, doing a lot of work. He's going to get taken down eventually by Fnatic, and Fnatic will get 5 kills and secure themselves the Baron.
And Cap's gonna get shielded.
Mantoraya not quite able to make the big play he wanted to there. He goes down as well. 5-2 in favor of Fnatic, 2 towers to 3, but Fnatic now in a dominant position with this Baron buff.
And man, Fnatic immediately are able to just push, use this advantage, and this is just huge for them. The fact that they found that fight, Rekkles jumped forward off of a reset from a stacked up explosive charge. Even though it looked like he was about to get completely comboed by KLG, the damage wasn't there like we said, and now Rekkles gets to kind of take over this game with his CS advantage. And Caps, we said he didn't have a great game before, and when he played against Young Generation, this one is much better for him. CS advantage, almost flame horizoning, and he was crucial in that team fight.
Great team fight, man, from Fnatic. We'll look at it once again as Tierwolf gets caught out to start it off.
And those are those 4 autos that Rekkles needs on the explosive charge to get a reset on his jump. He flashes away, gets taunted after a single taunt. Now he's half HP, but the Janna heal comes through, and Fix is still walking up, and Soaz was doing a great job of zoning. Fix finally gets in there, but then he contributes an ultimate and has to back up. So the one big physical damage dealer on the side of KLG was late to the party.
And that's all it takes when you've only got one massive damage dealer. That person has to be with the fight the entire time.
And watch just how quickly he gets blown up here by Caps with no ultimate, because Caps is level 15. He is such a high level right now that is a QW and then a Q, and that kills the man.
Yeah, my man just dies in that sort of situation. It's not too hard to work out the medical diagnosis behind that, or the medical pathophysiology, as we like to call it, when we're trying to sound smart. Now, bottom lane tower is the next target for Fnatic. 5 towers to 3 up with an 8,000 gold lead that is just continuing to extend. Fnatic have played to this composition almost perfectly, giving up what they needed to early on against Chaos Latin gamers, who are more than willing to take those towers and take an earlier gold lead.
And now they're just sieging it up. Feel like they can just shield Rekkles, have him walk up. put shots into the turret. He's not afraid because he knows he can buffer the rocket jump.
Shockwave onto Tearwolf as well, just to force him back. Broxer, you can think you could sense it.
Almost.
Like, do I Void Rush? Do I Void Rush? Not quite, but Soaz is going to jump into the backline here. Comes the Hero's entrance, the knock up onto Mantablaya, but the root actually cancels the Galio coming into that fight. Redemption for Fnatic as they try and take down KLG in the base. 26 minutes in. Fnatic are not done with this fight yet, but perhaps Rekkles is done as he gets knocked in. The Stand United comes out to keep Fix alive, and KLG are now the ones on the back foot as Fnatic continue to pound down, to continue to step forth and say, KLG will take you on in your base. Cap splashes in, Fix goes down, and there's the double knock-up onto Mantaraya as well. He is going to go down to Pound Town as Fnatic continue to clean up kill after kill after kill in the base of KLG.
And Fnatic, we said that KLG had a composition where they're looking to protect Fix. The Orianna and the Janna able to get Rekkles every time he jumps in, and they made quick work of KLG.
Fnatic are going to secure the top spot in their group. Group C belongs to FNC 3-0.
And that's exactly what you want to see from that Pool 1 seed. That was a game that's reminiscent of the dominance that we've been seeing from some of those teams. 26 minutes and 51 seconds.
It took them some time. What I love about it is the fact that they were willing to wait it out. They were willing to give up towers when they needed to, and they knew if when the game would turn in their favor.
Yeah, and Caps did a fantastic job of biding his time and just CSing. He knew that the CS advantage was going to be enough. His level advantage manifested itself at the Baron, and then just giving these shields over to Rekkles when he jumped in, saving him with all that extra AP. There just wasn't enough damage on the KLG side, and Fnatic knew that that was kind of just going to show itself if you let the game get to that mid-game point. Without get fed, it's a completely different game. But because he wasn't, and because he didn't get his feet off the ground, they were able to just stall it out, make sure nothing happened in the early game, which was what they were trying to do, is just play under turret, and then hit that mid-late game and just have those team fights with Rekkles.
Well, to get their thoughts on that win, let's send it over to Drakos and the analysts.
Thank you very much, Medic. Now, in an earlier game today, Chaos Latin Gamers, they tried something in draft. They tried putting everything on to the 80 carry. It did not work. They